One morning, Paddington was pottering about in the garden when he happened to glance through a knothole in Mr. Curry's fence. As he did so, he nearly fell over backwards with surprise at the sight which met his gaze. He'd never seen anything quite like it before. It seemed to be a cross between a very large hairnet, which had been hung out to dry, and some extra-large knitting, which had gone wrong. It was all very strange, and he was about to go indoors and tell Mrs. Bird all about it when he had his second shock of the morning.
Bear, what are you doing, Bear? Are you spying on me?
Oh, no, Mr. Curry, gasped Paddington. I wouldn't do that. I was only trying to see what was going on.
Haven't you ever come across a hammock before, Bear? Sailors used to sleep in them at one time. Nowadays, people have them in their gardens.
I don't think I've ever seen a bed with holes in before, Mr. Curry. Is it safe?
Safe? Why, of course it's safe.
Oh, I didn't mean it wasn't a good one, Mr. Curry. It looked rather old. I mean, have you had it a long time?
Well,
For some reason, Mr. Curry seemed anxious to change the subject.
How much do you weigh, Bear?
Paddington considered the matter for a moment. It depends on how many marmalade sandwiches I've eaten, Mr. Curry. Mrs. Bird says I must weigh quite a lot sometimes.
Look, Bear, I'm going upstairs for a book. I shall only be gone 5 minutes, and while I'm away, you can test my hammock for me, just to make sure it's, say, comfortable. If you do it properly, I may let you have a go later on, after I've finished with it for the day.
Thank you, Mr. Curry. I shall look forward to that. If Paddington had never seen a hammock before, he had even less idea how to get into one, and he soon began to wish Mr. Curry had left him a book of instructions.
Doing, Bear? Get down off there at once.
Oh, dear. Hello, Mr. Curry.
Bear! What have you done to my hammock? Come back, Bear!
But Paddington had already disappeared. He'd had quite enough of hammocks for one day.
His hammock?
Snorted Mrs. Bird when Paddington told the others about his adventures with Mr. Curry.
The cheek of it! I put that hammock out for the dustmen only yesterday.
It's been up in the loft for years. It had gone all rotten. Mr. Curry must have taken it before the dustmen arrived. He ought to think himself lucky he didn't go through it. Perhaps, said Paddington hopefully, I could sew some holes together and make you a new one. There's no need. Daddy's bought a new one. Look, it's got a special stand, so it'll be much easier to get into and much safer when you're in.
If you like, Paddington, you can be the very first to test it.
No, thank you, Mr. Brown, said Paddington politely. After you. In fact, after everyone.